Well, judging by the comments I got yesterday, several of you were actually a bit shocked by the whole YouTube gold joke that I did. But as someone pointed out, you should have seen that the timer just kept going, so it should have been a dead giveaway that it was a joke. But nonetheless, I think I managed to nail the reaction that I want to get from many of you. It's like, you know, are you kidding? Oh, it's just a joke. Okay, that's what I was going for. Anyway, fun fact about this route, Route 27. It's a bit longer in this game than it was in Gold, Silver, Crystal. You could actually see it on the segment of the map that I showed you yesterday. Route 27 is a lot longer than it used to be because they actually added a segment to it that wasn't there in Gold, Silver, Crystal. I don't know why they did it that way. Maybe they wanted Johto and Kanto to be more separate on the map, but oh well, doesn't really matter either way. Just means it's going to take a little bit longer to get to the Pokémon League. Anyway, this place, the Tojo Falls, is notorious for being the place where you fight Giovanni in that one event that involves Celebi. Sorry about that, I was trying to remember which one it was, but being Heart Gold, Soul Silver, of course, it's gonna involve Celebi in some way, especially since there's time travel involved. Now, as with all in-game events, I'm not going to cover it because of my usually strict no-cheating policy. I say usually because, well, we've already talked about it a few times. I had the thing about me losing the footage of my Raikou catch, and a little minor difference, by the way. You saw that item over there by the first waterfall. That item used to be all the way over to the left on the ledge, but they decided to get rid of that ledge entirely and move it somewhere else for whatever reason. But moving on, there's something I want you guys to explain to me. Remember a while ago when I talked about how the name Kevin kept showing up on my suggested tags, and I still don't have much of an idea what's going on, even though you guys explained it to me multiple times already. And I know it has to do with another Let's Player, but that the name Kevin was so popular as to show up on suggested tags, I still don't get. It's not like I get Chugga Conroy or Super Skarmory or anything as my suggested tags. But yeah, lately I've seen something else that is really, really weird in the suggested tags. I believe it's an American thing, which would explain why I have no idea what the hell's going on. But it goes like this. It's like Title 47 CFR part random number. I did some research on Google, but it was about as helpful as Braille in a movie theater. So, yeah, if anyone can explain that to me, I would be very grateful because I honestly have no idea what's going on here. And speaking of tags on YouTube videos, it has come to my attention lately that some aspiring Let's Players with low subscriber counts tend to shove many names of popular LPers in the tabs in hopes to get some views, and apparently some of these LPers actually started using me as a tag, even though I don't consider myself high profile at all. I can understand Chugga Conroy or Nintendo Capri Sun or Super Skarmory or HC Bailey, but me? Really? Are you really hoping to get many views by putting my name in the tags? I can imagine the guy reading the list of tags and seeing all the aforementioned high-profile LPers, and then Slowflake. And they're like, who the hell is Slowflake? But it just goes to tell you guys, if it's not written Slowflake on the box, it's not Slowflake in the box. And there is only one and only Slowflake, and that's me. So if you go into a video that isn't mine expecting to see me, you're probably going to get very disappointed. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you guys have tried the Spooky Manor yet. in the dream world, but it actually looks like they're slightly going in the right direction. Not only do we have some very valuable Pokemon in there, especially Sableye and Abra, but there's also the likes of Volbeat that's being massively improved. But the minigame in that place is actually kind of fun. It actually forces you to use your head, and that is something that is sorely lacking in other Dream World minigames. One thing I don't understand, though, is, what's the requirement that you need to get the Pokemon? In all other minigames, it's made perfectly clear, if you don't meet this objective, you're not going to get the Pokemon. But, yeah, it doesn't tell you that in that minigame. Is it a certain number of wins, a certain score? I have no idea. Okay, what does she want? Let me see. Oh, she's gonna see Raikou. If it doesn't come to trust you some more, it could be tough going. That's layman's terms for, I shouldn't switch over to return just yet. Hang on a second. I'm gonna try and go back in with an older Pokemon, one that I've had for a while. Gengar. Yeah, that should do. I caught it near the middle. Not near the middle, near the beginning of this LP. What am I saying? It's my first team member. Okay, trust you very much. It's nice to see a good trainer. Am I going to get anything for that? Yes, and it is TM37 Sandstorm, no doubt. It is Sandstorm, right? Yeah. Completely useless nowadays, especially, well, it was always sort of useless with the Tyranitar and then Hippowdon around. And speaking of which, it's actually a pretty busy period for weather inducers because the September stats just came out, and the Hippowdon could be on its way down to underused, and yet at the same time, there's the suspect voting going on right now, and the non-Pokemon voting's been going on for several days. I have no idea what's going on. Usually it'll last 3 or 4 days tops, but we're now well into day 6 of voting, and there's still no signs of us getting the results anytime soon. And all the weathers are being voted on, even snow warning, because a lot of people nominated permanent weather as a whole instead of just individually. But then the Smogon regulars were polled on this, and they all said that it was better to just vote on them separately, because there are going to be a lot of people who might want to see something like Drizzle or Sandstream go away, but not necessarily Drought, and especially not Snow Warning! Just great. Supersonic hits my switch in. You know what, I'm gonna go for it, see what happens. Flamethrower. Not gonna risk it with Dig and risk it over 2 turns instead of 1, but there we go. And yeah, Baton Pass is also suspect, mostly because of how nasty Espeon is as a recipient of Baton Pass boosts, since it's immune to more or less all forms of phasing. So if you see an Espeon with a massive amount of stat boosts, it's stuck with them. There's no way we're going to be able to force it out. But at the same time, such teams are extremely vulnerable in that if you manage to kill a member in the middle of the chain, or better yet, Espeon itself, then the guy using the Baton Pass chain team will usually rage quit right then and there. So when I said Espeon is the biggest rage quit inducer ever, it's true now more than ever. If you get in your own Espeon in a critical moment to reflect something, you might get your opponent to rage quit, and if your Espeon that has tons of Baton Back Pass boosts gets killed, rage quit too. So that's what's been going on the suspect scene lately. If we ever get the result, I'm gonna make sure to point it out to you guys. I honestly don't know how it's gonna turn out, to be honest. Of course, Snow Warning isn't going anywhere, but even Drought had a respectable percentage last time, so I don't want to make any predictions just now. Also, something that I wanted to point out, as I get more subscribers and viewers, a lot more people are going to get interested in me as a whole. I don't want to sound arrogant here, but I don't know how to word it. But the reason why I'm saying that is because I got a private message a couple weeks ago, and by the way, if you recognize yourself, don't be mad, it's not intended as a diss or anything like that, but I think it's something that I should mention to everyone so that nobody gets any expectations about that in particular. That person asked me whether I was going to the Montreal Comic Con, and I said no because what kind of business would I have to do at a con anyway? It's not like cons in general aren't relevant to my interests. But then again, I sort of understand why people would think that I'm going to places like this because I was talking about popular LPers earlier. Many of them do attend cons. That's why the Runaway Guys exist in the first place. But yeah, I don't go to cons, especially since most of them are on the other side of the border, which is, I guess, the reason why I was asked if I was going to go to Montreal. But, yeah, if anyone pretends to be me at a con, you can just tell them off because I just have absolutely no business there. Cons aren't relevant to my interests at all, and neither is Tommy Wiseau on that same note. So, yeah, just something I wanted to point out, and once again to the person who sent me that private message, it's not intended as criticism, as a diss, or anything like that, and I'm repeating that because it's very, very important. I don't want to make anyone mad just because I mentioned this, because I feel I have to mention this regardless. But anyway, I was talking about the September stats earlier on, and the guy who did the stats actually made projected tiers based on the formula that they used. And one thing that I noticed is that, well, there are a few more overused Pokemon than in the last generation to begin with, but it also seems like the threshold for making the overused tier is also a lot higher. Last gen it seemed to be like 3.1%, and now it's closer to 3.4%, so don't let the size of the tier worry you. I'm pretty sure that the metagame is still more varied than it was in the last generation, which is obviously a good thing, even with the perma-weather running around like it owns the place, which it kinda does actually. But as I was about to say, the big news is that there may be some pretty big additions to the underused tier on the way. Lots of potential demotions like Machamp, Tornadus, Darmanitan. I'm thinking we might even have to emergency ban one or two of them because, wow, Darmanitan in underused. I mean, Staraptor was banned from underused and sent to borderline because it just broke the place. So imagine something that's even more powerful, something that can nuke you so hard that it can two-hit KO a Jellicent with a fire move. Yeah, how's that thing not overused? So yeah, I sort of have a hunch that if it gets demoted to underused, it's gonna be banned pretty quickly. Now the only question isn't if, but rather when and how I could actually see an emergency ban taking place. It's happened before. People might not want to wait until the next round of voting to actually get rid of it. That's what I see happening at any rate. And, I think we've reached that segment that I was talking about earlier. You can go down in the water here, or you can go up the slopes. There's some grass here. Yeah, as I said before, I have not much of an idea why they did that, unless, as I said before, they just wanted to separate Kanto and Johto a bit more clearly on the map, especially since now in this game they're not on two separate maps, they're on the same map, they're both together, as I showed you near the end of the last video, and looking at the timer tells me that it's the end of this video too, so next time, we're going to keep going on routes 27 and 26 and hopefully get closer to Victory Road.